was the Muhammad Ali one.
No. I thought I saw one on the episode 14. No.
Yeah, but it was from last episode. It was in 1981, former world heavyweight champion.
Oh, I thought there was something else you wrote that it caught. Anyway, go ahead.
I don't think so. Let me see. Apparently, it doesn't let me undo it.
No, that's cool. Don't just keep going.
I found one that I like though. So if I did have one, then, well, righty then. 3, 2, 1. Just kidding. Mostly because I need to find GarageBand. There you are. All right, we are recording. We got the game on. Oh shit, hold on. I hate when it doesn't go all the way back. I mean, I move it anyway. That was dumb of me. I move it for the intros and outros. So I wonder if anybody voted on polls. I did not look at that.
If what?
I put a poll out there to see what intro people like better. The
hey,
here we go, the Star Wars one.
I like the Star Wars one.
I do too. I do. I don't know
if it was my vote. If my vote counted.
Oh, you voted on it?
I did not. No, I'm just saying I like this. I didn't know you put a poll out there. No.
Yeah, I just want to see what
on
our listeners
Spotify you did.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Again, you're the tech guy.
I'm the everything guy. I'm just not the quote unquote talent, according to you. That's you. So, all right.
Yes, I am the talent.
Here we go. Yeah, here we go.
I am the rock.
Hello, welcome back to Outside the Coach's Box. It is Friday, December 15th. I'm Nick. As always, I am joined by Big D, and we are here to talk about sports. And I think we would be doing a disservice to our fans if we did nothing else but start with, I don't know if it's the biggest news in sports, but it's certainly top for those that watch basketball. We had, I guess it's not Friday Night SmackDown yet, or it was Tuesday, so Tuesday night lights out. I don't know what you want to call it, but Draymond Green just absolutely clocking Yusuf Nurkic in the Warriors-Suns game. And let's just dive into it. I mean, let's just put this in perspective. Draymond Green's been suspended or ejected from he's the second most to Rasheed Wallace since I think like 2005.
Yeah.
Rasheed Wallace has 25 ejections. I think he's at 18. So he's 7 off the pace. I mean, that's incredible stat for Rasheed Wallace because he hasn't played in a long time, which means that Draymond Green's doing something that only one other person's really done in the history of basketball. And it's gotten to the point where it's just not basketball anymore for him. Like the NFL put him on an indefinite suspension.
The NBA. Did the NFL suspend him too?
They probably. That's how crazy. That shit wouldn't even fly in the NFL. No, but the NBA suspended him indefinitely for an efforts to seek help. They didn't want to put time on it because they didn't want him to feel rushed or whatever. They want him to take his time and do what's best for Draymond, which is a crock of shit. Like, the dude is not playing basketball out there. He's going out there doing WWE. Like, the Royal Rumble's coming up in January. I'm sure he's going to enter. He'll pull a Dennis Rodman when he left, the Bulls game to go to WCW and tag team with, I think, Hollywood Hogan against Karl Malone and Diamond Dallas Page. But, that's crazy. He's literally treating it like fight night. I've talked enough on it. Go ahead.
I hope he does go do that so he can get his ass kicked because...
I
have so many feelings that, well, they can script in an ass whooping, although they probably wouldn't in this.
No, they probably would. He'd probably get booed.
World.
He would 100% get booed.
I have so many feelings on this. I actually wrote a bunch of stuff down, but I think it's just a sad fact that it has taken this long for the NBA to take action of consequence. With Draymond Green.
Yeah, so if we look at his suspensions over the last few years, I think he hit LeBron in the nuts, got suspended 1 game. Curb stomp Sabonis' chest. 1 game. The incident with Rudy Gobert was 5 games. There's something I'm missing. That's another 1 game. Basically, it's been 1 game suspension, 1 game suspension, 1 game suspension, and then a 5-er.
The one with Gobert was ridiculous because he came flying into something he wasn't even remotely involved with, and it wasn't, hey, let me separate the teammates. Let me put this guy in a chokehold and try to take him out, for nothing. But I and you know this, you and I've talked about it a lot. I've always been a fan of Draymond Green from his abilities on the court.
Yeah, I haven't, but go ahead.
I know. And plus he's a Sparty, so, the Tom Izzo connection, and I just love that kind of gritty player.
Yeah.
Traditionally. And you and I've had to defend that with you quite a bit, but his continued antics and assaults.
Yeah.
Assaults, and they're growing in complexity and in danger. his assaults on other players is ridiculous. And
well, this one was an accident. He only
bullshit.
apologizes for things he didn't mean to do.
Well, that's just it. That's just it. He meant to do this, right?
He like did full on discus throw. He turned around because he tried to flail. Like Nurkic was like holding on to his jersey. He said he spun around to try to sell the jersey pull. But like you could tell, he saw Nurkic and still like as he looked away, he flung his fist into his face. Like he just full on discus punched.
It was all out intentional. You can even see one of his teammates on the bench, like in exasperation, go, "Yo, bro, what are you doing?"
That was just Draymond. Oh, it was Jordan Poole. Thank you for reminding me. That was the other thing he got a suspension for when he knocked out Jordan Poole in practice.
In practice,
yeah.
You're talking about practice. He goes after his own teammate and first of all, he gets all chest to chest with him in that, in that video. And Poole pushes back a bit, like, give me my space, and he just goes all out haymaker on the guy.
There was someone that did like speaking of like WWE, they definitely made like characters in WWE, like the video game.
Yeah.
And then put like obviously people are much smarter than me technologically wise. They put like the green screen going, so like the NBA 2K is going on in the background. And they just have Draymond Green like reenacting all these in WWE, like so they're grandiose. It was one of the funniest videos I watched all week because it might as well be that. Like,
but what's crazy if you just take that in the context of the game, right?
Yeah.
He's out on the wing, 3-point line or free throw line extended outside the arc, and he's being defended in a natural defensive position. And there might have been a little tugging here and there, but nothing egregious. And he's trying to create room, and he does that 360 haymaker discus punch, like you said. But that's not a basketball move.
No.
It's not like he was all of a sudden trying to switch his position down to the post angle so he could receive a ball from somebody who's at the baseline.
Yeah.
He was just trying to flat out get this guy out of his way.
Well, yeah, his defense is basically a flop. If you really listen to it, he was trying to sell the hold, so he's flopping. So either he's flopping, which there's like rules against in the NBA to begin with now, or like he full on went to go punch, which he's actually spoken out against flopping in the past, being this quote unquote tough guy, right? Like, you know, he grew up in the locker room with the Pistons, like the 2000s Pistons with Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups. Like that's where and like even Rasheed Wallace was like, you know, I'll take some ownership. Like he heard us talking in the locker room and thinks that's how you should act, but he doesn't really like. He never like. He's a grown man. How do you not parse?
But that's the problem. That's the problem, and that's what really I started to get into here. The first step in managing any problem is to acknowledge the fact that you have a problem.
Yeah.
You have to own it. Own his issues, and Draymond has never had to because everybody and their mother is making excuses from his childhood, from living with the Pistons, from whatever, blah, blah, blah. Grow the fuck up and get out of it. Grow out of it, right?
Yeah.
So there was a commentator that said something about the fact that this wouldn't happen on a LeBron James team. Like, who's the leader on?
Who said that?
I forget who it is, but who's the leader on the Warriors from a player perspective? Me, honestly, I'm looking right at Steve Kerr. You're the coach. What are you doing to straighten up this player, right? Where is his leadership as a coach?
Yeah.
And why have these antics been tolerated in practice and multiple games? And this is just me talking.
Yeah.
Kerr, in my opinion, should be suspended as well for and be held accountable for the ongoing enablement of completely unacceptable behavior. But then I forgot. Steve Kerr likes to hang out on the outside the 3-point arc and wait for his shot. But seriously, he should be held accountable as well. That's just unacceptable.
I don't know about that. I mean, coaches can only go so far. You know, you look at Phil Jackson, and I just mentioned he was the coach of that Bulls team where Dennis Rodman was off going to Vegas, dating Carmen Electra during the season, disappearing for games. Like, and even Jordan said, like, dude, as long as you show up and grab whatever, like just show up for the game and ball out, and that's essentially what Rodman did.
But those were releases off the court.
Yeah,
you know, he did have some antics on the court, but never to this point.
Right, but you have a responsibility to your team to show up. Again, I'm not excusing Draymond's behavior, but like I don't think you can put it on Kerr. I'm not a big Kerr guy. I do think that
I'm not putting it on him.
Yeah,
Draymond owns it, but as somebody who's in a leadership role around this person and the team that person's committed to. You have to take some ownership. You have to be able to corral some. This wouldn't happen on a Pat Riley team. This wouldn't happen on a
Pat Riley team. I agree, it wouldn't happen. He's a little old school. So by extension, Eric Spoelstra, I don't think it happened on Eric Spoelstra. Actually, I wouldn't even go as far.
Would Pop allow this shit?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. I will say this. You know who definitely wouldn't allow this. And shoot, you just made me lose my train of thought there with the pop thing. But like either way, like I agree with you that there's certain that's what I was gonna say. Player wise, I don't think on a Jimmy Butler team this wouldn't happen. In fact, if this were happening on a Jimmy Butler team, I think Jimmy Butler would just straight up like punch somebody and be like, enough of your shit, basically.
Yeah.
Which is kind of counterproductive. It's not. It's that is different to me than like Draymond punching Jordan Poole last year, because they like got, I think Jordan Poole wanted the ball or whatever, so like Draymond Green like punched him, and like those are two minor players in my opinion. Like if it was Steph Curry like punching, and again that might be wrong, but like I feel like stardom does matter in the NBA. So so like if Steph Curry just went out and punched Jordan Poole, it's like, okay, yeah, Steph Curry was just laying down the law. Draymond, he may be that guy, but at the same time it's just like, you're not the guy. You've never been the guy.
Right.
So like it's got to be the guy that lays down the law. So that's why I'm like, it's different if Jimmy Butler. I'm not saying in the game. I'm not saying like punch another player. Like I'm going back to the Jordan Poole thing, but definitely on the court. If he had a teammate acting up like this on the court to another team, even after like the first nut punch, he'd probably take him aside, either talk to them, and if they were ignoring them, then probably like slap the crap out of them.
But I mean, if you look historically, listen. Every team has their enforcers, from the Kurt Rambis of Showtime Lakers to Bill Laimbeer of the Pistons and the Bad Boys.
I mean, Rudy Tomjanovich got punched in the face.
I was just going to say, if you think about the counter, the potential opposite, it ruined his career. Broke multiple bones in his face.
Yeah,
and ruined his career because of some lack of emotional intelligence. That's what it is.
Well, that's why the NBA's moved. Like everybody talks about, the bad boys of the Pistons. Again, bring it back to the Pistons. There might be a Detroit problem, but the bad boys Pistons would do this stuff. But but there's a reason why the NBA's moved away from that, right? Like people complain all the time, like the NBA's soft, the NBA is this, whatever. Look, the NBA has moved away from the more physical game because they want their players to play longer. Back when those guys played, a long NBA career was 10 years. Now some of LeBron's going on year 23, scoring almost 30 points a game. Like, that's good for the game. Punching somebody in the face, not good for the game. So I think some of these players and some of these pundits have to realize, like, Draymond's antics have gone, again, you said unchecked forever. And I forget who it was. I think it was somebody on ESPN that said it wouldn't happen on a LeBron team. No, the only thing that would happen on a LeBron team would be one of his teammates sleeping with his mom. Did you remember that, the Delonte West thing?
No.
So apparently back when he was on the Cavaliers with Delonte West, like the rumor has it that Delonte West slept with his mom or something like that.
That's not good.
Yeah. No. But no, this could. I mean, to bring it back to basketball, this could have long-lasting effects on the Warriors, who are kind of on the downturn anyway. Like, look, they had their run, 3 championships in 4 years. I think they added a 4th, if I remember my math correctly. So they're doing a really good job. They did a really good job.
They've been a dynasty.
Yeah,
they've been a dynasty,
yeah.
and honestly, up until recently, they've been fun to watch because they move the basketball extremely well. They defend as a team very well. They were kind of the last from the migration from the older Spurs to the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, which is
the
a
last
Steve Kerr,
bastion
a
of
pop
true
thing,
basketball, right?
Right. The only difference was they combined that. They combined like the old school approach where like everybody gets to touch or like move the ball with the 3, which in this, again, in modern basketball, when there's a whole lot of hand checking, there's a lot more offensive flow. Like you get downhill, you kick it out, you make that extra pass, boom, 3. And we have the best shooter in the history of the game.
Yeah.
You're gonna win games. So like I agree, but like now it's just Steph Curry. Klay Thompson's not having a good year. He's in his last year. He's in the last year of his contract, not having a good year.
Yeah.
Draymond's suspended indefinitely. Jordan Poole's not there, so you don't have a second scoring option. Their youth hasn't been there. They're drafting
Chris Paul too, didn't he?
Chris Paul, like an older Chris Paul. He I mean, trust me, I love Chris Paul. I think everybody else tagging him or his nickname is like the point god. I actually really do think he is the best point guard in my era. I'll say, because obviously I was on the back end of John Stockton. Jason Kidd, Steve Nash. I mean, those were definitely point guards when I was a kid.
Magic.
But, well, I never saw him actually play. Imagine how many years he would play if he, took care of himself or didn't take care of himself,
or
I guess.
wasn't carrying the bad boy Pistons on his back.
Well, I was talking more about the HIV.
Oh, yeah, I know. Right, on and off the court if he had taken care of it.
Yeah, but, like, no, I mean, Chris Paul, to me, I mean, I remember being a kid and, like, it was like, what's the next great point guard? Him or Deron Williams?
Yeah.
Deron Williams fell fast, boom, plummeted to earth. Chris Paul has been going for years, and I've never been a big Warrior guy in terms of fandom, probably mostly because of Draymond Green. I do like Steph Curry. Like I said, I'm not the biggest Steve Kerr guy, but obviously he played on the Spurs team that I rooted for. So like, you know, there is a little rooting interest, and they've kind of cycled through some Dukies, which that's like my NBA thing. I root for Duke players.
Duke guys,
yeah. So I will.
I look for the Navy guys.
Right, and Mike Dunleavy Jr. if a Dookie is the GM of the team now. So like, you know, there is a little like interest. Like I keep an eye on it, but at the end of the day, like they just don't have the weapons, and obviously they're going to need to make a trade. I saw one person, one Bleacher Report article came out and said like they were giving 5 trade scenarios for Draymond Green. I'm like, who wants to trade for Draymond Green?
No.
And like some of the trades were so ridiculous. It's like one of them was for why can't I think of Jared Allen, who's a stud center for the Cavs. Is like, why would the Cavs even dream of making that trade?
Yeah.
Like it makes no sense. So like I think people write, like especially now, like Bleacher Report is not, I think, top notch. I think everybody knows that their articles are pretty much trash. But like I can't. I'm looking at it. I'm like, who in their right mind would trade for Draymond Green? Like that makes no sense to me.
Yeah, which is also more complexing or confusing as to why he behaves the way he does, because he fit really well in that program, in that system.
I think anywhere else he's not
well,
good.
So part of what made him fit was he's also a bit of a facilitator. Like he's not always looking just to get his. He'll draw the attention and do the kick out or do the kind of no look, UCLA type bounce passes to a cutting basketball player. And then when they were too busy doubling up on Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, they would kick it to him, and he would drain the three.
By the way, so
he would drain the three. So he fit really, really well in that system. So does he go somewhere else?
You want to say drain the three or rattle it in? Like the
No,
ones that
listen, he had a good shot. Give him a little.
Maybe like year 1 or 2. Like he is not. This goes to show like how again, you even say it like. And this is probably the antics like this probably why that you chase like the old school fans like yourself away from the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like this goes to show like why, because Draymond has not been that Draymond, like he can't hit a 3 to save his life nowadays.
No, I must have been looking at old highlights.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when they were starting to get that run going, he would be a good like 4th or 5th option. Like
because he was wide open looking dead onto the basket. I could drain a few of those too. But,
yeah, of course, but like no, he has not been that player in a few years, and the antics have just taken over. And like I said, it's harmful for the team because of playoff positioning. They're 11th in the West right now, which even with the new rules, like you're out of the playoffs there. If you're in that 10 spot, like you have a chance to play in and play your way to the championship game, and you're just not, because of your antics. Now you're going to miss games, which could hurt the team, which could make the miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then again, NBA is definitely more youth centric. They try to cycle more kids into the game
I
to
hope
watch.
there weren't many kids watching.
But that it's gonna hurt because parents, obviously, I'm too old to listen to you when it comes to you can't watch that.
You can always listen to me.
No, when I said you can't watch that, but it'll hurt older fans like myself. I'm like, I don't want to watch this product because of that. And then eventually it'll hurt their younger fans because I have a young cousin, you have nephews that are 12 years old watching, and it's like, and I can only imagine their dad being like, who was a Warriors fan or rooted for the Warriors, but like, no, we can't watch that. Like that's not basketball. That's not right. Because they already imitate everything between like the celebrations, the hoopla, and everything. Now,
but that's what the NBA markets, and that's always been my biggest bugaboo. We talked about this, I think, in episode 1, how players like Tim Duncan, Mr. Fundamental, like the big fundamental, he never really got advertised or widespread broadcast because he was too plain Jane. It's always the
turn. If he was like a few years earlier, like with Michael Jordan, I think he would have been obviously probably not as successful because Michael Jordan, or maybe who knows, they never went really head to head.
But they always put the thuggery and the bad
well, I wouldn't say thuggery, but like the more flashiness, right? Like the AI with his crossovers, the
practice. You're talking about practice.
Well, he might have had it, but like KG, like he was definitely more the fun. Tracy McGrady, like he's the one that started like the shorts down to like your ankles, basically.
Yeah, but listen, T-Mac was at least a quiet, go on the court, play your game kind of guy, and let the game talk for.
But that's why I said not thuggery, but like flashiness and everything. Like that's what the NBA gravitates towards, which is definitely more of like a young thing. Like dunks at like those are exciting, threes exciting. Like You as an older player.
Dominique Wilkins used to own the dunks.
Right, but again, this is what shows like the different change of era. Like people are just gravitating away from it, which is going to hurt their product because of players like Draymond Green. When you do add that extra, like, quote, fake tough guy. Like when JP was on, that's when the Rudy Gobert thing, and he was like surprisingly defending Draymond Green, saying like you need a guy like that. Like no,
you don't.
You don't.
No, you
but
don't.
Like to me, like
you need a guy with his basketball abilities.
Yeah.
You don't need the bullshit he brings on the court.
No, and you need an enforcer too, but you don't need an enforcer to that degree. Like stepping in and being like, okay, you're not going to take me on as one thing, but to actually throw the punch, it's just like.
Well, and not only that, that's not an enforcer. That was cowardice. The way he way he spun around and did this blindside kind of chop at the guy.
It wasn't like a push and like you come head to head and then it's like you go at it. No, it was absolutely blindside.
That's not an enforcer, man.
But like we almost not. I don't want to say almost because I don't want to like dramatize what happened in the next game, but last night we had almost something similar. There's a little kerfuffle
over
is the best way in the Bucks Pacers game, so to put it in perspective, at the end of the game, Draymond Green passed Kyle Korver for 5th all time on the NBA made 3-point list. Which was Giannis Antetokounmpo scored 64 points, which is the Bucks.
Passed that?
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
No, who passed the 3-point shot?
Damian Lillard.
I think you said Draymond Green.
Did I? See,
I think we might have to.
It's all right. No, I probably did.
I was like, wait a minute, what?
Like I said on one episode, I have more gaps on this podcast than I do speaking in real life. Mostly because we're probably recording at the end of a work day, and I'm just like, all right, like we're not like every podcaster out there that just does this for a living. We got other shit going on. So Damian Lillard passed Kyle Korver from 5th most all time on the 3-point list. Giannis Antetokounmpo scored 64 points, which is a Bucks single game record, which is shocking to me because they've had a lot of good players. Lou Alcindor, they had Oscar Robertson, Michael Redd, Ray Allen. What? Do you have a problem with me saying Lou Alcindor?
You do that on purpose.
What?
You do that on purpose.
What? What'd I say?
I've noticed it over the last
I can't bring up Lou.
Podcasts.
Why can't I bring up Lou?
Even when we were talking about the all-time scoring leader that when LeBron became that, you said of Lou Alcindor, not of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I can't say Lou Alcindor.
Sure you can.
Okay.
Sure you can. But you're doing it with the intent.
He was Lou Alcindor when he played for the Bucks.
You need help, and I can get it for you.
So no, that's an impressive stat. And then of course, Oscar Tshiebwe, former Kentucky Wildcat, scored his first in-season NBA points because he hit a free throw at the end of the in-season tournament finals, but he hit his first NBA points. So at the end of the game, Bucks personnel had the game ball. Then somebody in the black quarter zip got the game ball. Then somehow it ended in the Pacers locker room because they wanted to give it to Oscar Tshiebwe for scoring his. Either way, Bucks players got mad. It started with Little Antetokounmpo, one of his younger brothers on the team, saw the ball, tried getting it, was kind of shoot away. Ball somehow made it back to the Pacers locker room. Giannis was furious, like stormed back there. It's actually funny because if you look online, there's videos of like some staffer trying to hold on to Giannis, and is pulling out his jersey almost like Cape style, and he's just getting right. He's going for a ride.
Yeah.
So like, it's fascinating that it happened, but like there was a kerfuffle over it, and although I do think Giannis was right in the fact that he should get the ball. He came out, he got in Tyrese Halliburton's face, kind of like poked at his chest. I was like, when I first saw it, I was like, where is this going? Like, is this going to come to blows? Because, the whole thing, but I don't know. I mean, I'll take your take on it.
Honestly, it's Lillard, when he was at the presser, and he's the one that looked kind of annoyed that they were talking about a basketball, right?
Not so much. I want to say annoyed. He almost looked annoyed, comical a little bit. Like he looked like he had a little smirk on his face at first, but kind of tucked it away.
But it was like we're talking about a basketball. Yeah. And listen, three great things happened in that game, right? Three special or historical moments.
Yeah.
Not everybody can get the game ball, but first of all, they played in Milwaukee. So if there's going to be a game ball given, it should first be to the home team of preference, right? But then they can also give them 2 other basketballs and do ceremonial basketballs for the events that occurred. So especially the guy who scored his first point. So I hope you get many more.
I have a solution for this.
Yeah.
So the reason why it's not that big a deal, like in games like the NFL, because there's so many game balls. There's literally
they're wiping them, bringing them in and out all the time.
Yeah. there's probably I'd say 50 game balls at minimum
Yeah.
on there. Who knows? There could be possibly more because they have kicking balls and balls that you play with. And if anybody knows that, it's
deflated balls.
Yeah, deflated balls because and newly wrapped slick balls like Tony Romo got from the Seahawks in the playoff game. We won't talk about it too much. Yeah, fucking Seahawks. But I have a solution for them. They should have 4 game balls, 1 for each quarter.
Yeah.
Why not? Right? Like you change that each quarter, give the team like a chance to kind of
you'll get
feel
somebody
it out.
like Antetokounmpo who says, "I know the feeling of the ball."
You don't think he does? You think he's kind of bullshitting just to sell the point? Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean,
yes.
We have so many basketballs,
especially if it's the same brand of basketball. Like if I give you a Wilson instead of the Wilson that you played with, you're not necessarily going to know the difference of it.
That's a fair point. I mean, you can definitely get a feel like a different basketball. Obviously, us playing. They should. You know what they should do? They should play with 4 different balls and 4 different brands, and then throw a girls' ball in there just for shits and gigs. They like really throw off like because I mean there's poundage difference.
Ounces. 28 and a half versus.
So 30. It'll be like
and diameter. Diameter.
So see Steph Curry like fling it because he's not used to the way it would be so fun. Like some fan in the nosebleeds gets like knocked in the face because Steph Curry just chucked it from half court.
Listen, at the end of the day, it was a meaningless argument, and there was a way around it. But and again, it kind of speaks to. I'm all about competition, the heat of competition, and the fight it takes to win games.
Yeah.
But they're letting that emotion spill out into other things.
Yeah, I think I like heated basketball. It definitely makes that's what makes playoff basketball so much better. There's just so much emotion there, and these guys want it more than anything, which is kind of what hurt the in-season tournament a little bit. Which we'll talk about what rule changes they want to institute in a second. But like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how angry I would be if I was Giannis, because according to Giannis, he wanted to give the ball to Damian Lillard. I think it ended up with him anyway. Because it just seemed like Damian Lillard just did not care. Like, to me it'd be really interesting to see what if I was put in that situation, how I'd feel about a game ball. I don't think I'd care. Like it's like whatever, it's a ball, maybe it's different because I was gonna say like put my shoes in like the cleats or put my feet in the shoes of a football player. Like if I got a game ball, maybe like 1. Because like maybe like first touchdown or something that's unique, but after that it's just like I'm not gonna Emmitt Smith it, write my name on it, and sell it for like whatever. I'm probably just gonna give it to fans or parents or whatever. But who knows? I wonder if hockey players have this problem.
Game puck.
Yeah, but they go through so many pucks too.
Right.
And some of them end up in stands. So like it's fascinating. Yeah. It's very fascinating. Because baseball they get the ball back for the players. Basketball is really the only sport that you don't have more than multiple balls in play.
Yeah. But to your point, I mean, keep it rated PG-13. To your point, I mean, listen, the 1 ball a quarter is not a bad idea because
I like it.
And it's not a bad idea. And the ball, I had to be very careful how I say this. The ball will get equal wear. Through the quarter, that if something significant, if multiple significant things happen in games, and they're going to, you can truly give a game ball to somebody.
I don't know. NBA, if you're listening, multiple game balls, simple, easy.
Silver,
there you go.
Silver, great job on the suspension of Draymond Green. Get some game balls.
Former Dookie, Adam Silver. So. The last thing in NBA I want to talk about is, obviously we talked last time about the Lakers winning the in-season tournament.
Yeah.
Since then, though, the NBA has come out and said that they want to make a rule change, or they're mulling over a rule change that the winner of the in-season tournament should be guaranteed at least a 7th seed in the playoffs.
No way. So stupid.
I don't know if this is like a reaction to LeBron winning it, and they're just like, let's get LeBron as much as possible.
Are you
kidding? This is a way for them to be like, if a team has a major player get hurt and they have to miss significant time, but that major player is good enough to win, like, say Zion, right? We'll use Zion because he's a young player that's been kind of in and out. Say he really steps it up, the NBA TNT crew broke through to him, and he's conditioning and eating better. And whatever team he plays for, Pelicans, Knicks, Nets, whatever, Hornets. Like he wins the game, or they win the tournament with him. He gets hurt, has to miss significant time, then comes back. Pelicans are like under 500, right around that like 11-12 range, so they're out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
But they have the tournament, so they pull out. They're like, we're the 7th seed card. Like
Yeah.
you get Zion in the
idol.
Yeah, the immunity idol. That's a great way. By the way, if you haven't watched it yet, I'm telling you, Surviving Barstool. I plug Barstool way too much. By the way, I'm wearing their merch, everything, but like I do like their product. Surviving Barstool, totally worth watching. Yeah, I mean they took it off YouTube, so I shelled out like the $10 to watch it.
Of course,
totally worth it though.
Yeah,
it is such entertaining TV. It really like better than any Survivor that you can think, because if you really think about it, like Survivor is whatever 20-something strangers coming together. This is 14 people that work together.
Yeah,
and to me, like the the drama that would go on after work. It's just like,
so it's The Office meets Survivor.
Yeah, and they're in the office all the time. Again, we're going off on a
Screw you, beef farmer.
Definitely watch it. It's really good. But no, yeah. So getting back to the NBA, I just don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. It's almost like there's a reason why games in December don't matter as much in the NBA.
Yeah.
And games matter more at the end of the season. It's because, again, you're turning it on, right? And yes, you're not. I think the NBA is too concerned about early season fandom, and the reason why they shouldn't worry about that is because of the NFL.
Yeah,
the NFL is such a juggernaut.
It's not always going to dominate.
Yeah, you're not going to take fans away.
Yeah.
I think they're truly...
And the NFL is more universal in nature, where the NBA is definitely regional.
What do you mean by that?
That outside of the Lakers, Celtics, maybe the Warriors now, but outside of teams like that.
Knicks.
If you're
the Knicks are bad, but you're still gonna. Bad.
But
you're still drawing.
If you're a Miami Heat fan, you live in that area, and you're only gonna watch Miami Heat games. You're not necessarily gonna watch other games. But if I'm a Miami Dolphin fan, and they're done playing, I'm watching the 4:00 game. And I'm watching the 8:00 game on Sunday night, and I'm watching Monday night.
Do you think that's because football there's less? No, because there's less players in basketball.
No, there's less games. There's less games, so you're more in tune to football. There are what is it, 17 games in playoffs.
It's like a supply and demand thing. Because there's so little, you want to watch more.
They always leave you wanting, which is their secret sauce.
No, it is true.
Baseball overdoes it. Basketball overdoes it. Hockey overdoes it.
No, and everybody watches the Super Bowl no matter. I mean, we've watched it for the last 28 years without the Cowboys.
It's an event. So, people want a national holiday the day after. You know?
It is true. I'm always sad after football ends. It is the worst feeling in the world. I look forward to the baseball offseason because of all the movement that goes on. Basketball season is just as fun, and the trade deadline's fun. The All-Star weekend used to be fun. It's not as fun anymore without the dunk contest being so good. You have not as many you don't have Michael Jordans in the dunk contest anymore. LeBron James missed out on it. I think he would have been great to have it in there. Never did it. But I don't know,
the dumb thing about the midseason winner automatically getting a bid to the playoffs is it's lowering the bar.
It's also not even midseason. You're 15 games in the season.
Right, but it's like everything else. It's lowering the bar. You want to make the playoffs? Go win 82 basketball games like the Chicago Bulls or whatever it was.
80. Just so they went undefeated. Is that true? Oh, you mean total championship?
Yeah. Go win.
Yeah, they went 70.
Yeah,
okay. 72-10. Which the Warriors. Chargers fans are awesome. So obviously, again, this comes out Friday, but we watch Thursday Night Football. So that's a good segue into the NFL.
Yeah.
Thursday Night Football, you got Chargers, Raiders this week. We won't know the results. I'm gonna say Chargers pull off the offset win.
Boy, their coach needs it.
Yeah.
If he even has a chance of surviving the season, he needs a win tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Raiders are without Jacobs, I think.
The Raiders are without Jacobs, I believe, but the Chargers are without everybody. Keenan Allen's not there.
Oh.
Herbert's not there.
Oh.
Yeah, they have what's their quarterback's name? It's something Stick.
And you're picking the Chargers to win.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm feeling it. I'm gonna say the rest of this podcast like the Chargers won with Stick. That's how I'm gonna play it.
All right.
It's where's his name here? It's got to be somewhere.
I have no feeling one way or the other.
All right.
So
I think his name's Stick. There's this crew. I think he's like a North Dakota State former quarterback.
yeah.
But there's this video, and literally his claim to fame, where he's like dribbling the football between his legs.
Oh yeah,
and
I saw
everything.
some of that.
Yeah, that's him. That
The next Brock Purdy or Tommy
Yeah,
DeVito.
Who knows? He's playing for an opportunity elsewhere next year because obviously you're not moving on from Herbert. Or maybe, you know what? Chargers. If you win today, you should move on from Herbert. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah,
There you go.
sure.
Move on from possible future MVP Justin Herbert.
Sure. There's a lot of football things to talk about today
Yeah.
too.
So
outside of the picks.
Yeah, let's get into some football talk before we get to picks. Which I changed up my attitude for football this week. I have not been doing well with picks, so I'm going in blind, no previous thought, and just looking at games and picking. So that's my new theory. But we'll get there.
So we can remove that dartboard over there that you have when you do your
Yeah. Let's start off. You mentioned him a few times. I believe you mentioned him, or I'm just hearing things. Tommy DeVito. He's actually earned the name Tommy now because
I was thinking the same thing.
One, he is
You've been bashing him as Danny DeVito.
Yeah. Well, no, I haven't been bashing him. It's just like he's nobody really, but he looked like Michael Vick the other day, like escaping the pocket and running, and that's not hyperbole. That's just how bad the defense was against him. Like, there's no way the Giants should have won that game against the Packers, but they did, and they're now like a game away from a playoff spot, which I need Tommy DeVito in the playoffs because I want to see his agent more. His agent either is like legit
he's playing
mob,
a character.
or he's playing. That's exactly. He's either legit mob or playing the character. He looked every bit of like mobster that like, and he had like he belongs to like the Italian American Union or whatever like that. Like he had the bracelet on, he had the fedora, the pinstripes. He kissed the dad on the cheek, like grabbed his whole face and like did the old Italian like kiss on the cheek.
He looked like he was fresh out of the Bronx Tales.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Goodfellas, Bronx Tales, that's perfect.
Like that, but Bronx Tales, the younger kids, not C, but his buddies, and one of those guys that had the chains and the fedora. And
he almost looked fake Italian. That's a Halloween.
Yeah.
You know, Tommy DeVito's agent was just like, you know what, I'm gonna lean into Tommy, and I'm gonna go to like whatever spirit Halloween is left over and get like the Italian mob outfit. Like that's what I'm getting. But I love it. I'm here for it. Like it's all that you can possibly get. He's a New Jersey kid. I'm not going to root for the Giants. I mean, actually, that's not true. I'm going to root for the Giants for 2 games this season against the Eagles.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice. Hopefully they win. Go Giants.
No, and I actually made the same kind of comment in my picks because I won't foreshadow what my picks are, but
don't tip your hand.
One of them does involve the Giants, and just a recognition that we should move from Danny to Tommy because he's earned that respect, and he's actually brought some life to an otherwise dead team. So.
No, and that's the key thing. Like, football is better when certain teams are better. The football is better when the Cowboys are better. Football is better when the Niners are better. Football is better when, I'm trying to think of other teams. The Rams, I'll say Rams historically are
Raiders.
Raiders, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, yeah, Steelers, which we'll touch on them in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think a New York team needs to be good in order for like football to feel like real too. Whether it's Jets or Giants, if you miss that market because both teams have kind of given up on the season, it doesn't feel as good. Like beating up on them this year I was like don't get me wrong, I'm always happy for a Cowboy win, but it's like you don't get to enjoy it as much because, especially with us, like we rag on like our Giant family and like. Yeah. They do the same, but you can't do that as much when they're not good. Because you send out a text, be like, hey, nice game. And they're like, yeah, we suck. It's like...
That's not fun.
No, you guys don't suck. You almost feel bad. No, you guys don't suck that bad, but no, they do. Like, there's no... It's not as fun. Like, the give and take isn't as fun when...
Hey, it's your boy, the comedian.
Oh, Bert Kreischer, hilarious guy. Love him. The Machine.
Yeah, I watched that on the airplane, the Machine.
He is so funny. I think you need to watch his stuff to think that movie's even funnier.
Well, I had watched a couple with you because you introduced me to him, and I'm flipping through movies on the plane. That one came up. I said, I'll watch it.
He posted a picture on social media this week. So he has 2 daughters. Both are like college age now, but like all his like skits, he talked about them as young.
Yeah.
And he posted a picture of his one daughter with like rain boots on, like, like a typical kid outfit, like so ridiculous. And then she had a lunchbox over her head, and he's like, this kid got accepted by every college he applied to. Like, congratulations. Like, I thought that was funny. He's just a funny, real guy. And he's also like a fat guy trying to get like in shape too now. So like I can kind of relate. I'm not as big as he was, but like I mean maybe my height hit it a little bit because I don't think he's an overly tall guy. But no, yeah, he's a great guy. But that actually is a good segue into to speaking of fat guys with beards. Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers. I don't know if you heard this on his podcast. He said that Steeler tradition is done. Done. And I'm gonna stick with him here, and I'm actually gonna buy into it. Sorry, Uncle Mark. Steelers tradition is done.
Don't make him fly.
Or the tradition.
Uncle Mark doesn't like to fly. Don't make him fly out here.
The tradition of the Steelers. Well, we can call him. The tradition of the Steelers is done. The Steeler way is out. Which I actually, the Rooneys and Maras, and we'll bring the Giants back into this a little bit. They love pitching the way, right? The Steelers way, the Giants way. I don't think you can have a way in football. Like, it's not like the Yankees. It's not the Yankee way, the clean cut, the pinstripes. Like, I think that still works, and like some people will say like the facial hair should go, but like if you're gonna sign up to be a Yankee, like,
you know what's coming.
Yeah, like you're okay losing who cares? You're getting paid millions of dollars to play for the premier team in baseball. Nobody's gonna cry over facial hair, and if they do, they're not winners, right? Football different, and this is why football is a violent game. You're not out there looking for balls and strikes, trying to hit a baseball, trying to like field, pitch, whatever. Like, no, you're colliding into another 300-pound mongoloid, and like you don't need a guy. We always talk about this. Like, one thing that we love DeMarcus Ware on the Cowboys, but the one thing we felt was missing was like that edge, that meanness, like that
streak.
You need that. I'm not
like
saying,
Charles Haley.
Right, exactly. I'm not saying go out there and kill someone. Like, or take scissors to somebody's neck, Michael Irvin. But like, get a mean streak in here, right? Get a little bit mad, get angry, right? Like, what movie is that from?
You gotta hate.
Oh, it's from Dodgeball.
Oh,
it's like,
too,
get angry, like feel it in your plums.
I went to the new Magnificent Seven.
Yeah,
you gotta hate what you're fired at.
Right, like it's just one of those things where like I need a mean guy. I need someone that's gonna like look like they're gonna tear somebody's head off. Like Max Crosby looks like he's gonna tear somebody's head off. Yeah,
that guy's a beast.
Right, like Micah Parsons to me, like I think he's getting there. Yeah. I think he has a little bit of a baby face still, so it comes off more pouty than angry.
Yeah, on the sidelines. I've said it to you on the sidelines. It just doesn't look like he's engaged.
Right, but I think that's more him. He actually is engaged. It's just his face, right? Like he has
Singletary eyes. That was another one.
Yeah, like again, he had like the big bowler eyes, right? Like Ray Lewis would actually kill someone or get his friends to. Like it's just one of those things that you need to feel that like threat almost, and like you can't have that when you have a way. When you're like we can't negotiate, we can't fire in season.
I partially disagree with that because the Steeler way is about the blue collar steel worker mentality that's pervasive in that valley, and that's what they took with them on the field, the steel curtain, the dominant smash mouth defense. And then on the offensive side, they'd have that, that Mike Webster used to bench press like 550 pounds, and they would be this beast of an offensive line that had a powerful running game behind them. Of course, they had great passing games too, and Roethlisberger was part of it. But even his mentality was, he can't bring him down. He's
right. He was glad to be a Steeler, and I think that's the problem. A lot of these guys don't. And again, maybe it's a little different from what I was just saying about a way. Like I went off the rails a little bit because I do think that some of these like ways ruin like some players' attitudes. Not to say that justifies it or not, but you need to have people that want to be there, and it's tough to want to be there when there's just so many rules against like hitting and everything. And it even Minka Fitzpatrick said it the other day, like. He just feels like people don't want to be there, don't want to be Steelers. They don't go out there and say, we can't lose this game because we're the Steelers. And that was like Ben Roethlisberger's whole point. Like, he doesn't feel like in the locker room.
So is it that the Steeler way is done, or is it the players
both
don't own the Steeler way?
Both. Well, because two things. One, the Steeler way should be done because Tomlin should be out of there.
No way.
Yes. If your whole shtick is we don't have a losing season, then you're playing for the wrong thing. Congratulations, you went 8-8 or now 9-7, and you've never had a losing season. Or I think they went 8-1 last year. You've never had a losing season. He's won one Super Bowl in like 15 years of coaching. So yeah, the Steeler way needs to go that way. You can fire coaches in season. You got to move on. You can't be, and again, loyalty only gets you so far. You can't be loyalty, you can't, cut off your nose to spite your face or something like that's how the saying goes. You can't do that in the NFL. You have to be able to realize that your way, quote unquote, isn't working. So move on, find somebody else. They held on to Matt Canada too long. They're holding on to Mike Tomlin too long.
Yeah.
Maybe they're holding on to Kenny Pickett too long. Who knows? But they need to change way. And then, the attitude of the players is wrong. So it's both, I think, in my opinion, which is kind of a cop-out answer.
Yeah.
So, but I think if I had to pick one, gun to head, I'll say it starts with the Steeler way. It starts at the top, right? Shit rolls downhill, it starts at the top. The Steeler way needs to go first.
I just think so many of today's player, and this is across from high school on up, are too. There's too much of a focus on self that it inhibits the ability to embrace the team, the true team, the way. The way is about bringing a group of people together and operating as one. And, other than the Patriot way, was about having a curmudgeonly old coach who happened to be pretty successful, but it was basically Bill Belichick's way.
Bill Belichick?
Bill Belichick, yeah. Bill Belichick's way. But the rest of it's about and I think players of today are about getting mine for the most part. And there are exceptions to every rule.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I think the more successful teams do get out of the way. Like you look at the Niners and all the star power they have, they're willing to get out of their own way to be more successful. I think with this Cowboys team, you see a lot of players saying it's all for one for all, type of mentality.
Well, and you bring up the Niners, and that's a great point because
which, by the way, real quick, they're the only team that has clinched the playoff spot right now because the Giants beat the Packers the other night. So go ahead. Sorry.
No, but you bring up a great point.
Easton Stick. Boom. That's his name right there.
Easton Stick.
That's his starting for the Chargers tonight. Go ahead. Sorry. That's the second time I've cut you off.
That's all right. You do it again.
You want to make it 3
I'm
times?
Cut you off. You may not like that.
Go ahead.
No, but the Niners are a great example, and they were talking about it the last game last week, where they were marveling at the fact that when Christian McCaffrey runs, Ayuk and Deebo Samuel are blocking downfield. That's their job. But there's a willingness as stars to do it because Deebo Samuel in particular is a star in his own right.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the willingness to do it. And I'll even go as far as if Kadarius Toney doesn't line up off sides, Travis Kelce is a perfect example of giving up self-glory because look, he could have tried to make the play and bust through and everything, but no.
It was a heady play.
Yeah, on his podcast he even said retrospect, dumb idea. That gets tipped. He's scrambling. He's hiding from Coach Reed, whatever. But he sees the corner's eye. He throws to Toney. He knows it's free. Touchdown. That's a selfless play.
By the way, very nice throw.
Oh yeah, I mean he was a college quarterback. So
that actually is a good segue to that too. Because there's been a lot of talk about Patrick Mahomes and the whole uproar and the ref shouldn't have made that call and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, when you look on video, Toney is so offsides, so past the football that you have to make that call. And I don't want to hear that you don't call that at that point of the game. A foul is a foul. A penalty is a penalty.
Right.
Don't line up offsides. And for Patrick Mahomes to blow up like he did, now he owned it later and he apologized for it and he said he shouldn't have. But again, that's misplaced frustration. Your guy was at fault.
Yeah, I will say this. I truly think that the best argument isn't that it shouldn't have been called in that spot because you're right. A penalty's a penalty, right? You done fucked up. You own it.
Yeah.
My thing is that, and then this is where, I think it was Dan Orlovsky, who I hate giving credit to, Mr. Step outside the back of the end zone. But the one thing that drives me crazy is the best argument is the one that he made. And that is, if you look throughout the game, which he did, because kudos to him, he takes pride in his work and does a great job. With that, I don't always agree with his points. That's what I meant to say. But he did make this one good point: is if you look at all his snaps, he lined up that exact same way 4 different times throughout the game, and that wasn't called.
Okay.
So I do.
So
think
whose fault is that?
That's the ref's fault.
That's the ref's fault.
Yeah.
You and I have said you can call a holding on every single play.
Right.
Right. And the refs don't.
So the point I think they make there, it shouldn't have been called there. It should have been thrown elsewhere. Clearly. And again, Toney should have checked. There should have been things in place. He shouldn't have lined up off sides. Plain and simple.
Right.
But at the same time, if it's a penalty then, it was a penalty earlier, and it should have been thrown.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. And you're
So the refs should be addressed, and they get graded.
Yeah,
they
of
get
course.
graded, and But the bigger argument is when Von Miller clearly jumped off sides. I think it was the next play.
It was, yeah. That
clearly got to jump on the ball, and I even said, "Dude, that's a free play," and they never threw the flag.
Yeah, I just wonder.
It probably was the same ref.
I wonder how clearly he was, though, because we mentioned DeMarcus Ware earlier, and we got to remember his first few years in Denver, he had a veteran DeMarcus Ware with him, and if you looked at some game tape, DeMarcus Ware was flagged for offsides for timing the ball perfectly. So it might have been one of those things to our eyes. Again,
to the naked eye, he was off.
Right, but you gotta remember, like, the camera angles. Man, again, it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback. We don't know, so we can.
My biggest thing was the reaction from Mahomes. Now, again, I give him credit for owning it afterwards, apologizing. He even said it's not a great example for his teammates. It's not a great example for kids watching the game, etc. Yeah. But there's that. Again, I used the word or the term earlier. There's that level of emotional intelligence where you have to recognize, hey, you don't lose games on one play. Basically,
Look, they have a big game this week. They need to right the ship. Just like the Cowboys are playing the Bills. Bills need to right the ship or continue righting the ship, and they have a tough test. Cowboys can't fall asleep on that. Which again, those are huge games for playoff implication for both of them. And I do think the Chiefs have the easier task. Obviously, they play the Patriots, which are I think 5-10 now. So obviously they have a much easier task than the Bills, but they can't look past them because the Patriots just upset the Steelers. That I think I know Bill Belichick's going to do. Him and Andy Reid are very familiar with each other, so they had the potential to make it a grind them out game. And the Patriots have done that. They've lost 3 games where they pulled the opponent to 10 or less. So you got to get right. You got to beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs lose to the Patriots, and they risk the chance of missing the playoffs altogether, which is crazy to think. But
so we're kind of jumping into picks somewhat.
Well,
we're heading that way, but before we do,
I wanted to address the Bills Cowboys, and while doing that, and I'm sure this is probably where you want to say that. Hold up, I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Is Cam Newton this week?
Oh my God.
Cam Newton this week decided to say that these players are diminish their qualifications in the NFL. It was a weird conversation he was having. At first, he didn't mention Dak. He saved him for last, but then he did. And it was kind of like a derogatory sense that he was saying by calling them game managers. They weren't that good because they're game managers. But he said Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, Tua Tagovailoa, and Jared Goff are game managers. One, I don't like the fact that he's used game managers in a derogatory sense because I do think there is a place for quarterbacks and systems that manage the game and don't turn the ball over. 2,
well, isn't that every quarterback's job?
Right, I was going to say
manage the game.
2, it's their job not to turn the ball over and take care of it and make sure the offense flows, which, like you said, is manage the game.
Yeah.
And then 3, I don't know how you can call Dak, who leads the league in touchdown passes, and second in QBR to Brock Purdy, who absolutely threw a bomb to Deebo Samuel for a touchdown and threw for over 300 yards. Tua, who is constantly, granted, mostly slants, whatever, but he's still throwing for over 300 yards. And Jared Goff, who I actually don't think takes care of the ball all too well.
No.
Game managers. How do you say that they're game managers? And on top of that, I bet you any 4 of them will go diving on a fumble in the Super Bowl instead of just trying to granny pick it up like he did.
I just felt it was. I don't think he has the stature to make an assessment like that. I know he's a former NFL quarterback.
Former MVP as well.
And he likes to flash his Superman thing.
Yeah.
But in terms of career success...
longevity's not there for him.
No, and so it's not like it's Troy Aikman or who else? Drew Brees. Or somebody of that nature. Peyton
Manning, Tom Brady.
Coming out and saying, look, this is... On top of that, you're right. It was almost used as a derogatory term. And there's nothing wrong with being a game manager. Trent Dilfer was a game manager and won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he was a bad quarterback, but all he had to do was not put the defense in jeopardy. Right, and give them the opportunity to get a blow if they're going 100 miles an hour all the time, which he did, and he did a great job of it. There's a lot of quarterbacks. Zach Wilson has to be a game manager.
300 yards the other day, but okay.
He did, but he has to live in that game management role.
Yeah, no, I know.
And he can mature in that role because the defense is so good.
Right, but also Cam Newton lost to a version of Peyton Manning who was a game manager at that time.
Correct.
In the Super Bowl.
Because he was so beat up.
Right.
But his mind remained brilliant.
So that's what I'm saying. Like he used it to like knock these players, but it's like, dude,
and
first of all,
it's not fair to Dak.
I don't think it's fair to either of them.
It's not fair to Purdy.
Tua definitely not. And Goff's been in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Lost, not in a similar fashion, but lost a stinker of a Super Bowl to the Patriots. I think it was like 10-0. But like, I just don't understand. I think he's just one of those guys. And look, I wasn't a Cam Newton hater when he played. I thought he had a unique skill. He was a big quarterback.
Great skill. Yeah.
I don't think he was that good of a passer. Which he's also come out and said like something similar before this week. So 2 weeks ago, he said like, I don't need to be that. Like I could throw for 150 yards and then run for 50 more and be better than some of these guys. It's like, but isn't that also a version of game managing? And then on top of that, like, you're not as good as some of these guys. Otherwise, you'd still be in the league.
Yep.
You're one of those guys that kind of bought into your own press clippings when you won MVP. You didn't have good years following that. Like, you started all this controversy, either what you wore, what you did, what you said, and like
it became all about him.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's leave the. And again, I don't want to silence anybody because like, who are we to talk about sports, right? Like we're just a bunch of stooges in the basement talking about sports, but like, and he actually played it. But at the same time, like, that's even more of a reason to not like respect your brethren, right? Like that's what Absolutely. It is. Like you're in a brotherhood being in the NFL, and when you speak out against some of these guys the way you do, and how you diminish them because they don't do what you did or aren't as flashy or whatever, like
it's arguable. You could argue that Cam Newton wasn't as good as he could be because he wasn't a good game manager.
Yeah. No,
he would force issues with his legs or with his arms and cause fumbles or throw bad interceptions because he wasn't a good game awareness, game manager kind of quarterback,
By the way, you know who was with him out there in Carolina? I'd love to hear his opinion on who he'd prefer.
Who?
Christian McCaffrey.
Oh yeah,
I wonder if he'd prefer Brock Purdy or
talk about my quarterback, man.
Yeah, exactly. So it is fascinating. All right, let's get into picks.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to say good luck to all those fantasy managers in fantasy football playoffs this week. We're the every person's podcast, so we don't hate fantasy football. We actually play in it. We both play in multiple leagues. I'm in the playoffs in one league already. He's not, and in our family league, we still have one more week.
But I will be there after taking you down and winning the game after.
Dude, I'm on cruise control. I have
You've lost 2 in a row. That's not cruise control.
Half my team is out. CJ Stroud is out.
Stop.
What do you mean stop?
Did you learn from the Draymond Green thing? Own it.
Pacheco's
You have lost
Taylor's
2 in a row.
I have.
That's
you want to look at my roster?
management.
My phone's over there. You want to look at my
That's
roster?
bad game
You're
management.
ridiculous. It's not bad game management. I don't have X amount
You're
of
right.
roster
It's just
spots.
bad management.
No, it's only I have X amount of roster spots. What am I supposed to do? If anything, it's good management. I picked up Joe Flacco. I'm going to win this week. It's not even a big deal.
You picked up Joe Flacco the week after you thought about picking up Joe Flacco.
Yes, this is true.
Be honest.
This is true. I did, yeah.
If you really had chutzpah, you would have picked him up the first time.
But here's the thing. How do you again, and realistically,
CJ Stroud.
He was playing the Jets defense. And I had too much faith in CJ Stroud, which, again, hopefully he gets back because I would love to have him for the playoffs. But, all right, let's get into picks. You can go first. And I'll remind people of the picks record, which after this segment, we'll talk college football and there's bowl games. So if you haven't looked at them, we can talk about what games we want to pick for the bowls. I'll write that down and then we'll go. But we'll go over NFL picks right now. I'm 16-14 with a 533 win percentage. You're 12-8-1, 571 win percentage. Ryan's still 0-3, and our guests are 3-6 overall.
We need better guests.
So we're gonna do something for the NFL. We haven't figured out, but we have figured out a new twist on college. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, let's get into football picks. I'll let you go first, and then I'll make my picks as we go because again, I'm going with a new strategy because I have not been picking well. So
all right. So normally for the NFL, I usually pick 3, but I've actually extended that a little bit, primarily since it's the only football.
Gang greedy.
No, there's actually a lot of really interesting games this week, just because of that. Like we talked about at the last podcast, where there's so many teams at that 7-6, 6-7, and
You kind of said that we had less podcasts.
Less podcasts.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not saying
you
now.
went crazy.
I've been watching Down Under, NCIS Down Under.
You went crazy accent there, but yeah, no.
But
there are a lot of good games with a lot of playoff implications.
Yeah,
this week.
100%. So it's interesting to go through them. But I picked 5 of them, and the first one is
greedy.
Pittsburgh. We were talking about them getting 1.5 at the Colts. I'm going to take the Steelers and the points. T.J. Watt is out of concussion protocol. Mitch Trubisky has an extra game under his belt. The Colts are struggling with their running game. And this is a huge game for both clubs, obviously, as they fight to stay relevant in that postseason talk. And I trust, although you don't, Mike Tomlin will have his team more prepared.
So it's actually a fun stat. Jim Irsay tweeted out there 6-27 all time against this team since 1974 or something
Against
like
the
that.
Steelers?
Yeah. So it's not a bad pick. It's just very interesting.
No, I think being a former coach, that there's value in the coach, and I think Tomlin in this game where the teams are relatively close, right?
Mm-hmm. There you go, Easton Stick. By the way, last game was the SCS National Championship game where he went 13 for 90, 98 yards, 121 rushing yards, and 5 total touchdowns. Chargers won this game because of Easton Stick. It was phenomenal debut.
Stick it to him, Easton. Stick it to him.
No, he stuck it to him. That's what it is. I'm treating this like Chargers won. Fantastic. Austin Eckler had 300 total yards.
Be careful now. You're gonna have to retract that possibly. So.
No, I'm treating it like they won.
You could be like a politician and ignore the fact.
I'm never gonna acknowledge the fact that
or the
weatherman.
Yeah. It didn't snow as much.
Austin Eckler had a phenomenal game. 300 total yards, 5 total touchdowns. Great job, Austin Eckler. Thanks for getting me off to a great start in fantasy football this week. Go ahead, sorry.
All right, so the second game, and you kind of alluded to this earlier too, I have Kansas City laying 7.5 versus the Pats. A lot of noise out there about the Chiefs missing something. Mahomes hissy fit on the sidelines last week, which I talked about. He was dead wrong.
Hissy fit, wow.
The Chiefs will look to make a statement that they are just fine. And as a matter of fact, Kelsey has come out and said that. We have everything we need.
Yeah.
So I think this is I think the Pats will be the Patsies in this get-right game for the Chiefs. So Chiefs laying 7.5. We also talked about this one earlier. Giants plus 6.5 in New Orleans. I am taking the Giants and the points. Tommy DeVito, and yes, again, that's right, it is Tommy, not Danny, has proven to have some juice, some gouillons. I think the Giants may not win.
Gabagool.
I think they may not win, but they'll keep it close enough. 6.5 is too many points for that.
That'll be his first test in the Superdome. His first real you talk about stadiums in the NFL, home field advantages. There aren't really a lot of stadiums where I feel like you have that.
Saints is one of them for sure.
Yeah, Saints is definitely the Superdome. When we went there for the Final Four, and you could tell how loud it could possibly get for a football game. So,
that was a fun trip.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I have our next trip too.
Okay, baby. All right. Well, we'll save it for the end. Yeah. Our little quick notes.
Game 4, Jacksonville.
Greedy.
Getting 3 at home versus the Ravens. And I'm going to take the Jags and the points. And
I hope you're right.
I'm going to ask a really simple question here that we've been plagued with all season long. Who has Baltimore beaten?
Yeah, no, I said I actually wouldn't mind the Jaguars winning that game just because the Ravens. I'm not a Ravens guy.
But who have they beaten? The last 2 games, they beat a burrowless Cincinnati. They beat a hapless San Diego Los Angeles Chargers team, right? And they have a great defense, but I'm going to take T-Law, ATN, and the Jacksonville defense to win this game. But I am going to take the points as well.
I'm not buying that one. Sorry.
And then my last game is I'm sticking with the Cowboys money line in Buffalo. And to me, just the fact that they're 2-point dogs to Buffalo is another sign of a lack of faith in the Cowboys, even coming off of a dismantling of the Eagles.
I think that's a one. Again, usually home teams get 3, so it's really like a Cowboys favorite by 1.
Even still. And I think the feeling remains that the Cowboys can't win big games, and now the big game they just won is being used against them as they aren't good enough to do it again, kind of thing. Yeah. And I think that just bothers me. So watch out, Bills Mafia. You are about to join Jimmy Hoffa.
That'll be one of the cool. I still, to this day, I will always say I want to go to Buffalo and partake in. It won't be for a Cowboys game because I would fully I'd paint my body blue. Like I would be one of those crazy guys getting drunk and jumping off of like a truck into a table. I would fully embrace into the Bills Mafia for one day.
In September or October?
No, I'd do it in December. You numb the body.
Yeah,
I don't feel it.
no.
You'll feel
That's
it the
a
next
trip
day.
I won't be doing.
Yeah, that's fine. But no, I definitely want to do that one day. It's just Bills Mafia, just 100%.
Yeah, well, again, they need to watch out because they're going to be buried with Jimmy Hoffa soon after this weekend.
I heard it. That was like a dad joke. And I was like, I'm gonna make sense. Your dad. I'm like,
it's truth. It's truth.
Wrong part of New York. So those are all good picks. See, I'm struggling here. I'm gonna start with the obvious one. I'm gonna go Cowboys money line, and with that, I'm gonna also go the anytime touchdown scorer Jake Ferguson.
He's hot. He's been doing a great job.
Easy there.
Sexy Jake.
I think Haley or Hannah Cavender already claimed him, so you missed out. Sorry, bud.
I meant to say
sure.
He's on a hot streak.
And you know what? I'm actually going to throw another one in there for a prop bet. I'm going to go Josh Allen over half a pick. I'm seeing that now, so I'm taking that.
That'll be bland for a pick six.
It might. Yeah, I'll take that. You know what? Bears have been playing hot lately. I'm going to ride the hot hand. They're getting 3 in Cleveland. I'm going to take the 3. I'm going to go Bears plus 3.
That's an interesting pick. I looked at that game, but I just don't trust the Bears' makeup. And that Cleveland defense and the way Joe Flacco's been playing.
I told you, yeah.
Who, by the way, only has to be a game manager.
Yeah.
To be successful.
I'm going to go
through for 315 yards.
I'm going to go crazy with this, too. And I'm also going to take the over. Because right now the over is at, I just clicked out of it because that's me. The over's at 38.5. I'm taking the over on that.
For Cleveland Bears?
Yeah, Cleveland Bears. I'm taking the over 38.5.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Flacco slings it. This isn't the Cleveland Browns offense under Deshaun Watson trying to he slings it. He slings it to the point where
Joe Flacco's a good quarterback. You don't have to convince me he's a guy.
Right, but he's also an awful quarterback at the same time. When he releases it, first of all, spiral. It's like one of those things where old school football heads are like that tight spiral. Yeah, it's phenomenal. And I heard one person say who's like a Ravens fan who was a big Flacco guy said
he throws a nice ball.
Well, no matter what comes out of his hand, it's a nice spiral. The after effect is either he's gonna miss him by a mile, it's gonna be a beautiful throw, or it's gonna be a pick. Yeah. That's Joe Flacco for you.
Yeah, no, I always like Joe Flacco. He's a big game player.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Give me Jets plus 9.5. That's too much. I think they're gonna be playing better. There's a chance if they win this game, we get to see an Aaron Rodgers in Week 16. They either have to activate him or, put him inactive for the rest of the year. So
wow,
it'll be real interesting. In Zach Wilson, I trust, I'll say, for that one. So
that's another one I teetered with, but that's an interesting pick. Good pick.
Oh, don't tell me that. Now I don't know. No, I don't know. And I'm actually going to go head-to-head against you. I am going to pick Baltimore and minus 3.5. I think Ravens minus 3.5. That's easy pickings. I don't like them, but I also don't like the Jaguars. I think both of them are fraudulent. I mean, Trevor Lawrence has almost as many picks as he has touchdown. It's 17-10. He has not looked right all season long. And to the point where, again, I'm going to keep saying it, he's always going to be compared to, and I think that's only fair, to your draft class. And he's missed games, and yet somehow Justin Fields only has, it's 4 less touchdowns. He's 13-6 on the year. So, to me, I think if Justin Fields has those times, we're talking about a Bears possible playoff spot. They've been looking, and I said this on the last podcast, they've been looking like the Bears team I thought they were going to be in the season. I had them as one of my playoff spots, and the Lions actually as my wild card. I think I had them winning the division.
I think they're going to show up as the Bears that they are, which is an inconsistent football team.
Okay.
And then on top of that, you mentioned Trevor Lawrence being hurt, not being himself, that kind of thing. This is about the time of year, every year, that Lamar Jackson goes down with an injury of some kind. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happens again. Not wishing him that way. But
No,
just his
no,
pattern.
you're wishing him injury. Wow, that's sad.
No,
That's
I would
I'm
never
kidding.
do that.
Yeah, so those we'll lock it in. Those are my NFL picks. I'm not feeling great about them. But typically, when I don't feel great about things, like it's a good sign. Like I felt literally leaving the draft this year for fantasy football, I thought my team was shit. I went undefeated for 12 games. So
Until you came up against the juggernaut.
dude, I beat you twice already this year. You beat me once. Congratulations, you're 1-2 against
You can't
me.
win the prime time.
I won last year's championship. What are you talking about? But anyway,
Yeah.
let's look at let's pivot to college football now. So we got an update for those who are listening that they know that we kind of picked our. It was kind of lame. We picked our ramifications for our college picks, which was winner gets Taco Bell from the loser.
Sorry, Taco Bell is not lame.
No, that's like a lame stipulation for a podcast, though.
It's
You
not
pay
lame.
for my lunch. Cool, man. Cool. So we're still gonna
It's
do
our
that.
first one.
Right, we're still gonna do that, but I'm kind of stealing from another podcast, but we're gonna change a little bit. So obviously the goal is to be above 500, and if you're still above 500, which I'll give you our picks, or I'll give you our percentages for college football right now. I'm gonna tell you this: they're both below 500.
Okay.
So
that's
I'm
fair.
at 400. You're at 434 right
Oh,
now.
I'm winning in both picks.
Yes, you are.
Oh, how did that
So
happen?
yeah, good for you,
Oh,
man.
good.
I've had some bad picks. So it's gonna end in the national championship game. We're gonna go through bowl games. If it's close, no matter what the feeling is, I think we should just go opposite, and we'll flip a coin to who picks first, right? Like, and then
Or we can mandate certain games that we have to both pick on.
well, that's what I'm
Yeah.
going through now. So bowl games start this weekend, right? So we got
I haven't even looked at those, but okay, go ahead.
my phone's over there, so I forget the
Okay,
name
I
of these
see.
bowls. I want
So-
to talk about them. So we got
The Texas Bowl.
Well, hold on. I'm going to go in order here in terms of time. So Saturday we have the Myrtle Beach Bowl between Georgia Southern and Ohio.
Myrtle
Cricket
Beach.
Celebration Bowl from Howard and Florida Florida A&M. Sorry, I was reading the A. Wow, that was a crazy brain trick. I was
Test in
reading
the alphabet, and
yeah.
you
Oh,
failed.
I was reading the A at the end of Florida and the A&M all went. I'm like,
Yeah,
what the
yeah,
hell
yeah.
is going on
La, la,
here?
la.
Oh my god, my brain just melted down. Then we got Jacksonville State versus Louisiana in the what is this? The R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. I love these names, by the way. Some of them are just so great. Then Miami of Ohio.
I'm sorry, that's why I only had the top 25.
Yeah.
I see what you're
There you
doing.
go. Miami of Ohio at Appalachian State for the
Cure Bowl.
Avocados from Mexico Cure Bowl. You got to say the whole thing. You can't
It
just
only
say
says Cure Bowl on my
Well,
screen.
this is why I'm reading. The New Mexico,
Trying to
New
be.
Mexico State versus Fresno State in the.
Oh, we don't need to go down all the bowls. Which one are we
No. This
picking?
is just from this weekend. The Isleta Brands LA Bowl. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. The Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Then you got UCLA at Boise State or versus Boise State in the Starco Brands LA Bowl, and then Cal versus Texas in the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl. Again, love these bowl names. They make almost no sense. So
There's too many
what
bowls.
games?
This
What
is to
games?
give everybody a trophy mentality.
This is this weekend, and then we have some games on Monday. If you want to, no, because we'll have a podcast Monday. So
So we're
we'll
only
worry about
looking
that.
at the
Only
games
this
from
weekend.
Saturday.
Yeah, only this weekend bowl games. That's kick off the bowl season.
Okay.
What games you want to pick, and then we'll go from there. We don't have to pick the same games actually. So go ahead. I'll let you choose. We'll go tit for tat here. We'll each pick two from this weekend because they're on a whole bunch.
Just two. Okay.
Just two games. We can either go head to head or not.
Okay.
I'll let you pick first.
I'm going to go to the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Georgia Southern versus Ohio.
Okay.
The Eagles versus the Bobcats.
Yep.
And I am going to take Georgia Southern laying the 3.5.
Okay. I don't have odds showing, so you're gonna have to tell me what they are.
I better write that down.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I'm gonna go the UCLA. I'm gonna take, what is that? The Starco Brands LA Bowl.
Hang on a second. So
Oh jeez, the technical difficulties, folks.
Georgia.
And then after we make these picks, I'm gonna tell what the new stipulation is. So
minus 3.5. Okay, you're going UCLA.
yeah.
And then UCLA is 4.5 point favorite. Over under is 48.5.
I'm gonna be dirty here. I'm gonna pick UCLA. You said plus 4.5?
Minus.
No, minus 4.5. I'm going to take UCLA minus 40
and a half? I got it. You said it.
4.5 versus Boise State.
Okay.
And what's the over-under?
48 and a half.
Oh, I'm taking the over.
You love like doubling up.
Yeah, no, I'm changing.
So that's
rules.
your 2.
No. Well, you get to pick 2 games, I said, so I'm just double dipping, which has hurt me all season long. This is why I have a lesser percentage than you and everything. I picked more games, and I've lost more.
You're a bad game picking manager.
Sure, sure. Whatever helps you sleep at night. And then, do you want me to go second here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Second? All right, I'm gonna pick the 2 big ones. Because I know you're going to pick against me on one of them. What's the Cal Texas Tech? What do we got there? Give me some.
Cal Berserkly Golden Bears versus the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. Texas Tech is laying 3.
Okay. And what's the over under there?
57. That's a lot.
I'm going to take Texas Tech money line.
You're taking Texas Tech money.
Yeah. And then I'm going to take the. No, that's all I'm going to do. That's all.
All right.
Pick 3 picks. There we go. I'm happy with that.
So you've got, and you're done now.
Yeah, I'm done. Those are my 2 games. I picked what was that? So that's the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl. Thank you, Radiance Technologies.
All right. I'm actually going to go for a little bit of an upset here.
Okay.
And I don't know if this is the full name, but the New Mexico Bowl.
So wait, hold on. That's the one with Fresno State, right?
Yep.
That's the Isleta, New Mexico Bowl. I have no idea what brand Isleta is, but that's Isleta, New Mexico.
So I'm going to go with the Fresno State Bulldogs getting 3.5 points.
Okay.
In that game. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And
Chicken, you didn't want to go head to head. Good for you.
No, I didn't like what. It's not chicken. I
No,
didn't
it's
like
smart.
what you like.
It's smart staying away from me. I got it.
Yeah, because you're poison. Poison. And I don't think there's anything else that really attracts me on that Saturday. Well, UCLA's playing Boise State. You said that one. You're in that one. No, I'm good.
All right. Let's see.
Now, are we going to designate the other games that we're going to play?
No. We'll go kind of like week by week. So here's the deal. So not only is winner going to get Taco Bell, but we're then going to go bowling, both you and I. And the perfect game in bowling is 300. Depending on how far you are away from 500, you must bowl that many games to get there.
Or?
No, that's it.
I thought it was and. Or you had a choice to either bowl.
No, that was the podcast thing that I was taking it from. They were eating hot dogs to also like eliminate what the number
We're
is.
going to eat Taco Bell burrito.
You want to do that? Like that is brutal. I mean, I'll do that, but like, all right. So I guess we'll do exactly that. We're just like straight up copy. Then yeah, we'll do Taco Bell tacos
or burritos. Which one?
You want to eat a whole burrito? They don't do like mini burritos. Sure,
right.
burritos.
Well,
No, burritos. No, burritos. It's sold burritos.
All right. So as far as you are from 500, and how many games are we bowling?
As many as it takes. So if you're done, if like I'm 500 already, I don't have to bowl.
Right.
I mean, I probably will because bowling is fun, but it won't mean anything to me. But if you're at 300 by the end of these picks, you will have to get 200.
And I can do that with a combination of score and bowling or tacos eaten.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you want to do what every one taco or burrito in this instance is 10 pins? If you have to eat 100 tacos, you'll shit yourself.
I want to shit myself anyway. Taco Bell tacos, man.
I'm just happy that our guests have been terrible pickers. Otherwise, both of us would have to do that, and that's like not fun.
we got. By the way, we got to get LB back here when I'm here because I missed that podcast.
Yeah, we will. We'll have her back.
Yeah,
we're
working on a few others.
We'll get reoccurring guests. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
We got some big ones. We've had. I mean, obviously, Will was our first non-familiar guest, which again, thanks. That was awesome having him on. We got some big ones down the pipe. We got the ref who we've been alluding to for a while, who said yes. You just have to wait till the football season's over and. I guess I'll have to give him a call because you don't call anybody.
I don't have his number.
I have it. I gave it to you.
I don't think so.
You delete text messages, weirdo. So yeah, we have him. We got a former NBA coach or current NBA coach. I'm not at liberty to say right now who's agreed to come on. So that'll be fun to have him on and talk. Again, little interviews. I think that'll be more interview style because I think that's the way to approach that one. So that might be like every other podcast where we interview
style and then bring him into something we do like a starting five or whatever.
The starting five will probably be a good one for him.
Yeah.
And then we got a lot of good stuff coming, which actually is a good segue into basketball more. We got obviously a lot of friends in coaching circles. We have a lot of games starting this week. Well, I know again Will, who coaches at Shore, he just started today. So good luck to all those coaches starting in New Jersey.
Yeah.
This week and this weekend.
It's a great time of year as a high school girls basketball or high school coach.
Absolutely. Wish you all the best of luck and healthiness, of course, throughout the way, because that is the biggest difference as you get through the season, especially in New Jersey's modified season, which to me, honestly, and I want to talk about this a little bit, New Jersey's so half-assed backwards. Like I was just down in Virginia last week, and they're already like 10 games into their season.
Oh, yeah. Everybody else was. When we played in that She Got Game tournament at our own gym, we played a Pennsylvania team. They'd already had 4 or 5 games under their belt, and it was our first one.
Yeah, it's insane. They play.
Our boy Stick just fumbled the ball.
What are you talking about?
Stick got stuck.
So they play like a total of 40 games between regular season games and playoffs. I think New Jersey's only down to less than 30 at this point, which is crazy to me. You got to let these kids play. That's in every sport. Let them play. Like there's nothing better than playing the game, and you diminish athletes in the state of New Jersey. So that's my rant. Like New Jersey, like let the kids play, please.
They change things for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
I won't go any further.
You can go into it.
I'm already out of the basketball circles. So
you can go
I guess I could, but
no.
I just think people that are in the roles where they can make a positive impact take shortcuts.
Yeah,
because they don't want to actually do anything. They don't want to do the extra work to make things extra special.
Yeah,
and then they always kowtow to football. Yeah, everything gets shaped around football, and I get that football
or people's egos. Like think about it. Like some people don't want to play games at 4:00 for whatever reason. They'll move it because they just want to, despite having lights on like a field. Like it's ridiculous. Like you just I don't know. Maybe abide by the state rules when they make sense, and then if they don't, maybe say something about it instead of like just.
You're right. It's all about
being a stooge.
Ease of self, convenience to self.
Yeah.
But there's a lot, especially in New Jersey, especially in the Shore Conference. Girls basketball in particular, the guys do, but girls basketball in particular. There's a lot of good basketball in the state of New Jersey that resides right here in Shore Conference. And a lot of times they'll talk about how football is the money maker, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But it's the most expensive sport, the most expensive drain
for upkeep on schools.
Yeah. Basketball is a lot easier to do.
Well, we just talked about you only need one ball to play.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? It doesn't interfere with anything.
Yeah.
Other than football being able to, and that's only on the guys' side. The girls don't play football in the winter.
No, they play flag football now, which is
they play
in spring. So yeah.
So it all comes down to I don't want to do a little extra work in order to make this happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, on that happy note, we'll end the podcast here, and as always, on this day in 1973, Tennessee beats Temple 11-6 in a very low-scoring college basketball game. Thanks for this. There we go again. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and follow across all platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, smash that subscribe button, comment, like, do whatever you feel like. Again, thank you very much for listening.
Happy Hanukkah.
There we go. Good job, man. Oh.